Hello everyone and welcome to QQ Catalyst Class 200, Setup of Your Location Preferences. This class is designed for agency owners and QQ Catalyst administrators whose role is to set up or edit agency defaults, such as signatures, carrier fees, or emails. This class will cover all the tabs located under the Location Preferences section. In order to get to your Location Preferences section, you'll hover over your username, select Preferences and hover over that, and then select Location Preferences. The Location Preferences section is where you're going to enter preferences for each of your agency locations. If you do have multiple offices, you will be able to select your specific office in the drop-down menu. Once you select your office, you will also see your address as well as your phone number to ensure you are editing information on the correct office location. You will also notice within the location preferences that we do have multiple tabs, and again, if you click on them, they will change from green to blue. The first tab within our location preferences section is the user tab. This tab is where you can set the length of time a user can be inactive within QQ Catalyst, as well as a default user language. If I did need to edit this information at any point, I could do so by clicking on Edit in the bottom right-hand corner, which will open up our panel. We can then select the changes we would like to make within our agency. For example, if I would like to have the system log out after 1 hour of inactivity, I could change it to 1 hour. If I would like the system to log out after 4 hours of inactivity, I can change it to 4 hours, or I can leave it to a full 8-hour day if I choose. You can also change the default user language from English to Spanish if you would like as well. And then of course we're going to save our changes. The next tab we have within our location preferences is our Contact tab. The Contact tab is where you're going to set preferences that you will see when you are adding a contact. For example, we have our Customer Numbers section. The Customer Numbers section is where you will be able to set a specific number sequence that you would like to see every time there is a contact created using a prefix, a customer number, and a suffix. The example of how the customer number will appear within QQ Catalyst is listed below right here under the example box. This is an optional feature. You do not need to utilize this. However, if you would like to utilize it, you would just simply click on Edit in the bottom right-hand corner and select the prefix, customer number sequence, and the suffix you would like, and then save your changes. I would also like to introduce you to the navigation panel located just to the right of our customer numbers section. This feature will allow you to jump from one section to another without having to scroll or use your sidebar. All you would need to do is simply click on the blue hyperlinks one time and it'll automatically jump you from one section to another. Next we have our address information section. In this section you'll be able to set up a default city, country, state, and zip code that will be pre-filled when you add a customer in QQ Catalyst. In order to add this information, you would simply click on Edit in the bottom right-hand corner and enter your information. For example, if our agency is located in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, we can enter that information as well as our zip code. And then of course we're going to save our changes. Next we have our Preferred Languages section. The Preferred Languages section is a section you can add different languages that your customer may choose to conduct business in. If you would like to add a language, you can do so by choosing Add Language in the upper right-hand corner. For example, if you need to add French, you may do that, and then we're going to save our changes. You can also edit or delete any of these languages through this section by simply clicking on the dark highlighted area or on the Click to Edit link, and it'll open the panel and you can either edit the name or remove it entirely. For today, we're going to go ahead and remove this, and this box that pop up is not mandatory. You can simply override it by clicking on Yes, and now that language has been removed from our Preferred Languages section. Next we have our Occupations and Industry sections. Under the Occupations sections, you will see a starter list that we have created for you. You do have the ability to add additional occupations and associating it with a specific industry. So the industry section and the occupations section do work in tandem with each other. For example, the industry section will give you a generalized industry and then the different occupations within that specific industry that you can associate it with. For example, if we notice in the banking section, we do not have a teller listed as an occupation within the banking industry. So if we would like to add a teller to our occupations list, we can do so by choosing Add Occupation in the upper right-hand corner, adding teller to our occupation list, and choosing Save. And then we can go back to our industries list, hover over banking to where the arrow says Click to Edit, and that will open up the panel, and you can see all the occupations that are currently associated with banking, and then we can add our teller as an occupation to our new industry. And then we're going to click on Save to save our changes. And now you will see teller is listed under the banking industry. Next we have the Departments section. The Departments section can be utilized in two ways. First, you can enter departments within your own agency that you would like to assign for your own employees. For example, if you wanted to add a management department, you may do so by choosing Add Department in the upper right-hand corner and entering your information. And then, of course, we're going to save our changes. Secondly, you can also add departments for different carrier accounts. For example, if you have a specific underwriter assigned to you from one of your carriers, you can enter that specific underwriter's information when you're adding a new contact and then assign them to the underwriting department. So again, we're going to go ahead and choose Add Department. We're going to enter underwriting, and then we're going to save our changes. This can be very useful when you're filling out forms or letters within your agency. The last section we have under our Contact tab is our Customer Sources section. In this section, you can list all of your different advertisement tools that you use to generate more business within your agency. We also have a Sources widget that you can place on your dashboard to determine which advertisement tool is generating you more business. If you did need to add a new source, you may do so by choosing Add Source in the upper right-hand corner to open up the panel, entering the information that you would like to add to the list, and then save our changes. The next tab within this section is the Policy tab. If you would like to get back to the top of your page, you can do so by either choosing this up arrow, using your sidebar, or scrolling. The quickest way is to just choose the up arrow, and it'll bring you all the way back up to the top of the page, and we can just go over to our next tab, which is the Policy tab. The Policy tab will allow you to set preferences within a policy. The first section you will notice in the Policy tab is our Signature section. QQ Catalyst has the ability to upload a signature image, which can then be used in letter templates and Accord forms. If you'd like to add a new signature, you can do so by choosing Add Signature in the upper right-hand corner. And then you can go to your images where you keep them, and then select the image of the signature that you would like to add. You can just click on it and then choose Open. And then you can see QQ Catalyst did insert the image of the signature, and then you can name the signature. So we're just going to say this is Julie Smith's signature. Okay, and then we're just going to save our changes. The next section is our Agency Fees section. Agency fees are a fee your agency would like to charge your customers for a service provided. For example, a cash handling fee, an endorsement fee, or a broker fee. The Agency Fee section is located in two separate sections in QQ Catalyst. The Global Preferences setting, where you can actually set up the actual agency fees, and the Location settings, where we're at now. Once you're in the Location settings and you're at the Agency Fees section, you're only able to edit these fees. You'll see there's no Add Agency Fee feature. You're only able to edit. And you cannot edit the names, you can only edit the value. So we're going to go ahead and enter an endorsement. And as you can see, the fee name is locked, you cannot edit that. You can only edit the dollar amount or the percentage, as well as the actual amount. So we're going to go ahead and enter $15 there, and then we're going to save our changes. Next, we have our lines of business / coverages section. In this section, we have provided you with lines of business by Accord standards. In this section, you do not have the ability to edit the lines of businesses listed. However, you can associate coverages with a particular line of business. For example, if I open BOP liability, I am able to associate coverages within this line of business, and I can add or remove as I need to by either selecting from the drop-down menu or Xing them out to remove them from the list, and then we're going to save our changes. We also have our cancellation reasons and endorsement reasons. These two lists are very similar, and a reason is required when you are processing a cancellation or endorsement within QQ Catalyst. Both these lists are fully customizable, and you can add and remove as you need. So if you need to add a reason, you can do so by clicking Add a Reason. For example, an insured request, and then save our changes. And if we did need to remove it at any point or edit, you can do so by hovering over it like I just did, hovering over it where it says click to edit, open the panel, and then you could remove or you can edit the name itself. So for today we're going to show you how to remove, and this option is not mandatory. You can feel free to bypass this by simply clicking on yes. And the similar situation with the endorsement reasons. You can add a reason. For example, maybe there's an address change, and then we're going to save our changes. And if we did need to delete or edit, we can do so by hovering over where it says click to edit, and then edit the actual name or remove it entirely. And again, this is not mandatory. You can bypass this by simply clicking on yes. Lastly, we have our policy sources section. In this section, you can list all of your different advertisement tools that you use to generate more business within your agency. However, once you're in the location preferences section, this is from a policy level. So for example, if we wanted to add a source, we may do so by clicking Add Source, entering the name of the source, and then saving our changes. And if we did need to edit or delete, we can do that just like we did before with the hovering over where it says click to edit. As long as that arrow is there, we can open up that panel and we can edit the name or remove it entirely. And we also have a sources widget that you can place on your dashboard to determine which advertisement is generating you more business as well. So if you wanted to add the widget, you can do so as well. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and click our up arrow to go back up to the top. And we're going to go on to our next tab, which is our Finance tab. The Finance tab provides you the ability to set up a number sequence for both your receipts and your invoices. This again is an optional feature. It is not mandatory. However, if you wanted to set up this feature, you can do so by clicking on Edit in the bottom right hand corner. And you can enter your prefix, your receipt number, your suffix, and then view the example of what that would look like. And you can edit also your invoice numbers. So if you wanted to click on Edit, you can enter your prefix, your invoice number, okay, and then your suffix. And again, here's an example of what that would look like. And that way QQ Catalyst can set up the number sequences for you. Our next tab is our Email tab. The Email tab will allow you to add an email address that you would like to use when you are sending emails from within QQ Catalyst. There are 3 steps in order to set up your email. The first step is to enter your email address in this section by adding your email. So we're going to use mine for today. And you can enter a description as well if you'd like, so that way you know whose email address it is. And this will generate a pop-up window informing you that we have sent you an email validation request. This is also letting you know that this email will be valid for 24 hours. So you have 24 hours to go into your email and click on that link within the email to validate your email address. Okay, so we're just going to click OK. And as you can see, here's the name I just entered, and you can see it is listed as no underneath a validated category. But once we go into our email and validate that, this will change from no to yes. So for example, we're going to go ahead and go into my email, click on the link, and this will just let us know that our validation has been complete. And then we'll be able to see that has changed from no to yes. Once that is done validating, and you also need to assign the email account. So we're going to save this page for right now. So you can see this is our stack feature, and this is our stack page. So we go ahead and click the blue link, and then this page is now saved into our stack folder. And then we need to go in and associate this email address. So what we're going to do is hover over our username, hover over Preferences, go into My Preferences, which is your user overview, and then we're going to go into our Permissions tab. In the Permissions tab, you're going to have a Location Access section where you can assign your email address. So we're going to go ahead and click Edit. And then we can select the email address we would like to associate with this user so they can email within QQ Catalyst. And there's my new email that I just set up. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. And we're going to click Save. And that way this email address is now associated with this user. And now we're going to go ahead and go back to where we were. So we're going to go into our stack folder, click on Office 1. And then it'll bring us right back to the email tab that we were on. And you can see that my email has been validated. It is now showing as yes. And now that my email is validated, I can close this tab just saying thank you for confirming your email address. And we can go over to our next tab, which is our download section. Please keep in mind that we do have training classes specifically for downloads, so we will not be going into too much detail within this section at this time. However, I would like to point out a couple of things, such as your Ivan's account section. If you do have an Ivan's account mailbox set up, you can go ahead and click Edit to enter your mailbox credentials, your account number, your user ID, your password, as well as your mailbox support type. If you do need any assistance inputting any of your Ivan's information into QQ Catalyst, you can make sure and contact product support, and you can contact them at the support and training link, and they have the hours of operation, phone number, and email address listed, so you can contact them if you do need assistance with this. I also wanted to point out that if you are doing download carrier transactions from a source other than Ivan's, you will need to set up the Download Assistant tool. And you can do so by simply clicking on this blue link and then following the directions on this page. Just download it and then go ahead and push run, and then you'll be able to download that tool for you. Okay, next we have our logos section. So if we just choose our up arrow, we can go on to our next tab, which is logos. In this area, you will be allowed to upload your agency logo. This logo can be used on letters and emails that you create within QQ Catalyst. Low resolution and high resolution types are supported. The lower resolution types are typically used when you're sending an email within QQ Catalyst to help prevent long load times. We also have a high resolution option, which can be used when you're printing out letters, so that way they are a higher resolution image. Lastly, in this section, we have our Apps tab. Our Apps tab has 3 different integration options that you can utilize from within QQ Catalyst. The first integration is our text messaging feature. You now have the ability to send and receive text messages from contacts within QQ Catalyst. To do so, you must first enable text messaging. To do that, you would click on Edit and just change Enable Text Messaging from No to Yes, and then enter your preferred area code. We will then provide you with a sender number, which will appear on all outbound and inbound text messages. Once this is complete, you could save your changes. Next, we have our MailChimp integration. MailChimp is a service that allows its users to create, send, and track email newsletters. To set up your MailChimp account, all you need to do is click on Edit and enter your API key from MailChimp into QQ Catalyst, and then save your changes. The last integration we have is our Appulate feature. Appulate is a service that allows retail agents to send accords, supplementals, losses, and other data to carriers such as wholesale brokers, MGA, and TPA receivers. To set up your integration with your Appulate account, you would click on Edit and then enter your username as well as your password into QQ Catalyst, and then save your changes, and Appulate will now be integrated with QQ Catalyst. And we're going to go ahead and put our up arrow back up to the top of the page, and I'm actually going to go ahead back to our dashboard, as this now concludes Class 201, Setup of your Location Preferences. We have covered the User tab, the Contact tab, the Policy tab, the Finance tab, the Email tab, the Download tab, the Logos tab, as well as the Apps tab. The next instructional class in this series is Class 302, How to Enter Contacts. Thank you so much for viewing and for being a QQ Solutions valued customer.